The victim crown that Robyn Brown refuses to take off every weekend like clockwork. Robyn Brown polishes her crown, steps into the spotlight, and plays her favorite role, the misunderstood victim. She wants us to believe she never wanted this life, that monogamy was forced on her, that somehow we should pity her for being the only wife left standing. But let's be honest, no one plays the victim better than Robyn Brown. She's mastered the art of crying without tears, confessing without guilt, and manipulating without ever raising her voice. Every sigh, every shaky breath, every "I didn't choose this" is a perfectly rehearsed line from a woman who's been performing for years, not for her faith, not for her family, but for the camera and control. Robyn claims she didn't want to be the only wife, that she was pushed into this position by the choices of others: Christine, Janelle, Meri, as if she was dragged here against her will. But if that's true, why does every scene of her life drip with satisfaction and superiority? Why does she speak like the woman who won a competition she swears she never entered? It's a contradiction so thick you can taste it. She says she's tired of being blamed and punished, tired of people thinking she's the bad guy, but she's the one who stood by while her sister wives crumbled, arms crossed, wearing that same practiced look of heartbreak that never quite reaches her eyes. And when Robyn says, "I'm tired of feeling bad that I have a good relationship with Kody when other people don't," she's not defending herself, she's declaring victory. She's telling the world, "I'm the one he chose." The truth is, no one handed Kody to her. She took him. With tears, with patience, with the subtle power of emotional manipulation that makes you feel guilty for even noticing it. She didn't earn his heart. She cornered it step by step until every other woman felt like an outsider in her own marriage. That's not love. That's strategy. And Robyn has always been the best strategist in this sister wives world. Think about it. Every time Kody fights with his other wives, who's there to comfort him? Robyn. Every time he blames someone for disrespecting him, who's whispering in his ear, feeding his narrative that he's been wronged? Robyn. And every time one of the kids dares to question his rules, who's conveniently the messenger of authority, saying it's not my rule, but we have to follow it? Robyn, again. She plays both sides, the sweet messenger and the silent enforcer, so that Kody looks like the tyrant while she looks like the saint. It's psychological warfare disguised as wifely devotion. And yet, Robyn still has the nerve to say she didn't sign up for monogamy, that she didn't choose this, that she wanted to live her religion. But here's what no one seems to ask her. If she truly wanted plural marriage, she was truly heartbroken about losing her sister wives, why didn't she leave when the faith disappeared? Why didn't she return to her church, find a man still living the principle, and continue the life she claims to believe in? The answer is simple: because this was never about religion. This was about security, fame, and the luxury of being Kody's only focus. Robyn Brown doesn't want plural marriage. She wants the appearance of sacrifice with the benefit of power. She wants sympathy without accountability. When she cries on camera, she's not exposing her soul, she's controlling the narrative. She knows exactly what words to use to sound spiritual, what tone to take to sound broken, and how to time her tears to the music. She's not chaotic, she's calculated. And behind every poor me moment is a woman who has learned that nothing wins an audience faster than pain, especially the kind that looks holy. Even the way she rewrites history is frighteningly precise. Suddenly, Janelle and Christine handed Kody to her. Suddenly, the collapse of a decades-long family is everyone else's fault. Suddenly, the other wives rejected him affection-wise. And she, the ever-patient Robyn, was just there to love him when no one else would. It's a lie told so often that even Kody believes it now. He repeats it like gospel because it absolves him of guilt and keeps Robyn's halo shining. But here's the truth that Robyn never wants the world to see. She didn't stumble into this role, she built it. Brick by manipulative brick. From the moment she entered the family, she positioned herself as the emotional caretaker, the spiritual anchor, the one wife who communicated and obeyed. And by the time the others realized what was happening, it was too late. Kody had already been rewired. His loyalty wasn't to the family anymore. It was to the woman who convinced him everyone else had betrayed him. So when Robyn cries about being blamed or punished, remember this: she isn't being punished. She's being exposed. The world isn't misjudging her, it's finally seeing her for who she truly is. A master manipulator who hides behind motherhood, who uses her children and her pain as shields, who blames religion when it's convenient and abandons it when it's not. Every woe is me speech is a distraction from the truth that Robyn Brown has been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. And now, sitting comfortably in her monogamous castle. She dares to tell us she hates it there. Please, no one buys that story anymore. The manipulator behind the mask. Every manipulator wears a mask, and Robyn Brown's just happens to be made of tears. Behind those trembling lips and glassy eyes isn't a wounded woman desperate for peace. It's a strategist who knows exactly how to twist emotion into power. Watch closely and you'll see it. The way she trembles right before dropping a line that makes Kody look like the savior. Or the way her voice cracks just enough to turn guilt into loyalty. That's not heartbreak, that's performance. Robyn doesn't fight loudly. She conquers quietly. Her weapon isn't her anger, it's her fragility. And that's what makes her so dangerous. You see, manipulators like Robyn don't shout or threaten. They guide. They plant thoughts so gently that the people around them believe those ideas were their own. It's the same tactic described in Southern Fried Lies, where the woman at the center of the show used emotion and deception to make others move like puppets. The FBI agent called her a master manipulator. The moment I heard that, I thought, that's Robyn Brown in a nutshell. She's the type who'll convince you that she's been wronged while she's quietly rearranging the entire board in her favor. She'd cry about being misunderstood while ensuring everyone else looks cruel for daring to question her motives. Robyn doesn't need to scream to control Kody, she just needs to hurt. Because Kody can't handle female pain. The minute she tears up, he folds. He doesn't see strategy, he sees innocence. And that's how she's kept him trapped in this endless guilt loop. He spends his days trying to prove his devotion to her, desperate to make her happy, terrified of being the man who failed her. Every argument with the other wives became another opportunity for Robyn to reinforce the idea that they were toxic, and she was pure. She positioned herself as the calm, reasonable wife, the only one who communicated, and Kody fell for it completely. And while Kody runs from confrontation, Robyn thrives in it, silently. She manipulates by withdrawing. The sigh, the silence, the wounded stare, all perfectly crafted signals that say, "You've hurt me." And Kody, who's built his identity around being the patriarch, can't stand the thought of disappointing the only wife who still praises him. So he gives her more money, more attention, more control, thinking he's keeping her, when in reality, she's keeping him. It's a cruel genius, really. While Christine and Janelle were fighting for emotional equality, Robyn was playing psychological chess. She didn't have to win arguments. She just had to make sure they felt exhausted for even trying. Because when people are tired, they stop resisting, and that's when she takes over. It's no coincidence that every time the family faced conflict, Robyn somehow ended up as the emotional center. She became the one Kody confided in, the one he defended, the one he believed was the only one who understands me. That's not luck, that's design. And if you look at the pattern of Kody's behavior since Robyn entered the picture, you can trace every meltdown, every relocation, every feud back to moments when Robyn needed space, or felt unsafe, or was being attacked. 7 moves in 15 years. 7. That's not coincidence, that's instability. It's the byproduct of 2 people who never deal with reality, only run from it. Robyn calls it pain. Kody calls it trauma. But really, it's avoidance, and Robyn is the architect of that avoidance. Every new house, every new plan, every new promise is just another distraction from the mess she's made. And let's talk about those moves for a second. Think of what that's done to their kids. Uprooting them again and again, chasing some illusion of peace that never lasts. A normal parent would stop and ask, what does this do to my children? But Kody and Robyn? They move like fugitives from their own emotions, from Leahy to Vegas. From Vegas to Flagstaff, leaving behind not just houses but emotional wreckage. Robyn calls it trauma, but the only trauma here is the chaos they keep creating. She wants to blame pain when the truth is simpler. She thrives in dysfunction because it keeps her relevant. A stable family doesn't need her tears. A happy husband doesn't need her comfort. So, consciously or not, she keeps the fire burning, and she's always the one standing closest to the smoke. While Robyn's crying about faith, Kody's drowning in delusion. He thinks buying her a house will save the marriage. That debt equals devotion. It's tragic, really. He's become her greatest pawn. He doesn't realize she's already won. She owns the narrative, the sympathy, and the man. And the saddest part? He's convinced it's love. But love doesn't isolate you. Love doesn't make you abandon your children or rewrite your history. Love doesn't ask you to move every time you're uncomfortable. What Robyn and Kody share isn't faith, it's fear. Fear of losing control. Fear of being irrelevant. Fear of facing the truth that they've destroyed everything they claim to value. And yet, Robyn still manages to look like the victim. That's the brilliance of her manipulation. She doesn't fight to win, she fights to look wounded. And that image keeps people from holding her accountable. It's why she can sit on camera, say she didn't sign up for this, and still be seen as the good wife. She's turned self-pity into armor. But when you strip away the tears, the soft voice, and the trembling lip, you see the truth. She's not broken. She's calculating. She's not a victim. She's a tactician. And the collateral damage of her control, an entire family that no longer speaks, children who no longer trust, and a man who's too blind to realize he's been manipulated by the one person he thought was his safe place. It's ironic, isn't it? Robyn spent years preaching loyalty and faith, yet she's the reason the family's faith fell apart. She claimed she wanted peace, yet chaos follows her everywhere she goes. She wanted unity, yet she's the reason everyone's divided. And through it all, she keeps that same trembling voice whispering that she didn't want this. But she did. She wanted him, all of him. She wanted the attention, the house, the fame, the validation. She wanted the title of favorite wife without ever admitting she fought for it. That's the kind of hypocrisy that makes her dangerous because it's hidden under sincerity. So next time Robyn says she's tired of being blamed, remember, manipulation isn't just about lying. It's about storytelling. And Robyn Brown has written herself into the role of the suffering saint so deeply that even Kody believes it's gospel. But no mask lasts forever. Eventually, every tear dries, every story cracks. And every manipulator faces the truth they've spent their lives hiding from. Robyn may still have Kody's loyalty, but she's lost the one thing that once made the sister wives family worth watching: authenticity. What's left now is just a performance and the lead actress. Still crying on cue. Still crying on cue. The fall of the Brown Empire and the queen who never meant to save it. Every empire falls, not because of outside enemies, but because of rot from within. And the Brown Empire, once built on faith, family, fact, and the illusion of love, has been decaying from the moment Robyn Brown walked in smiling. She wasn't the storm that hit them overnight. She was the quiet flood that crept in under the door. She didn't destroy them with rage, she destroyed them with need. Every tear was a tool, every silence a sentence, every apology a setup. And while everyone else was busy defending their worth, Robyn was busy rewriting the rules. That's not devotion, that's domination. Think about how far this family has fallen. They once stood together as a symbol of faith, defiance, and unity. A modern polygamist family telling the world that love could stretch wider than society's comfort zone. But what do we see now? A broken patriarch chasing validation, ex-wives rebuilding their peace, children questioning their father's choices, and at the center of it all, Robyn, still clutching the victim card like it's her passport to sympathy. She says she's heartbroken. She never wanted this. She misses the family. But her actions tell another story. When the ship started sinking, she didn't call for help. She locked herself in the captain's cabin and blamed everyone drowning outside. She loves to say she wanted to live her religion, but let's call it what it is. She wanted to own it. If faith truly mattered to Robyn, she'd still be in Utah. She'd still be part of her church. She wouldn't be sipping wine in Flagstaff while preaching about celestial kingdoms she's no longer eligible for. She says she's not living her dream, but in reality, she's living her plan. Kody's hers alone now. The wives are gone. The audience is divided. And the narrative still somehow revolves around her pain. That's not coincidence, that's calculation. And what makes this all so twisted is that Kody still doesn't see it. He thinks he's protecting Robyn, defending her, standing by his loyal wife. But what he's really doing is erasing everyone who ever loved him before her. Robyn has turned isolation into intimacy. She's convinced Kody that being alone with her is peace, when in truth, it's a prison. A gilded cage wrapped in sympathy and self-pity. Every time he loses another relationship, she tightens the emotional leash. She tells him it's God's plan, that he's being tested, that he's doing the right thing, and he believes her because he needs to. Kody's biggest weakness has always been his ego. Robyn learned that early and fed it just enough to keep him from noticing that his kingdom was burning down. And now, look at them. A man who once preached unity now sits in silence beside the one woman who taught him how to divide. The laughter is gone, the joy is gone, the purpose is gone, but the performance remains. The show might still roll on, but it's not a story of faith anymore. It's a documentary of self-destruction. And Robyn is still front and center, shedding holy tears for a life she pretends she didn't want, while living exactly the one she fought for. Let's not forget, Robyn's entire narrative has been built on contradiction. She cries about being misunderstood, yet refuses to be transparent. She talks about wanting forgiveness, yet never apologizes for her part in the downfall. She claims she's devastated by being the only wife, yet won't release Kody to rebuild the family or his faith. It's all about control. Emotional control, financial control, spiritual control. She's not sharing love, she's hoarding it. And that's why people find her so hard to believe. Because when you strip away the excuses, what's left is a woman who wanted a man so badly that she burned down the village to have him all to herself. But even Robyn's mask is starting to crack. You can hear it in her words, the defensiveness, the self-justification, the rehearsed. I didn't want this. Deep down, even she knows that the story she's telling doesn't make sense anymore. How do you claim to love your religion while living in sin by its own rules? How do you call yourself a plural wife when you've spent years making sure you're the only one left? How do you say you love your family while watching it fall apart and blaming everyone but yourself? Those contradictions are catching up to her, and the audience, once sympathetic, is no longer buying the act. The tears that used to move people now just remind them of the lies that built this empire of illusion. And the saddest part of it all is that Robyn still doesn't realize she's lonely. Yes, she has Kody. Yes, she has the big house. Yes, she has the image of the perfect wife she fought so hard to protect. But what does it mean when the kingdom you wanted has no one left to rule? What's the victory when the man beside you is bitter, broken, and angry at the world? What peace is there when your children grow up watching the world call their mother manipulative and cruel? Robyn won the game, but she lost the story. She's the queen of ashes now. Meanwhile, Christine, Janelle, and even Meri have walked away and found something Robyn never will: freedom. They're rebuilding their lives without the constant need to prove themselves. They're healing publicly, authentically, without pretending. Robyn's still stuck in performance mode, clinging to Kody's side like the audience's sympathy is oxygen. But here's the truth. The audience has changed. The world sees through her now. What once looked like faith now looks like fraud. What once looked like love now looks like obsession. And what once looked like loyalty now looks like control. The irony. Robyn thought fame would make her family stronger. She thought going public would prove her love and her faith. Instead, it exposed everything she wanted to hide. The church she once claimed devotion to now sees her as a cautionary tale. The fans she once wanted to win now see through the victim act. And Kody, the man she thought she'd saved, is now the loneliest he's ever been. That's not destiny. That's consequence. So, as Robyn sits in her mansion, crying about faith and fairness, remember this: she's not the victim of this story. She's the author. She wrote the tragedy, directed the fall, and still wants credit for surviving it. But survival isn't redemption. You can't build happiness on other people's heartbreak and expect peace to follow. Kody and Robyn's relationship isn't proof of love. It's proof of what happens when manipulation replaces honesty. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Empires built on lies don't crumble overnight. They rot slowly until the truth finally breaks through. Robyn spent years trying to control the narrative, but in the end, the truth doesn't need an audience. It just needs time. And now, the world can finally see her for what she is. Not the suffering saint. Not the devoted wife, but the quiet storm that brought down the Brown Empire one tear at a time. So, what do you think? Is Robyn truly the victim she claims to be? Or is she the hidden architect of her family's destruction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story isn't over yet. And trust me, the next chapter is going to expose even more than anyone ever expected. More than anyone ever expected.